Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is the Art Occultist with your host Elisa. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. Today we are doing another part of our Perfect Pair series here on the channel. Today I'm going to show you the seasonal decks that I use for my weekly/daily practice in terms of autumn and winter. So how I do this is every season I have a selection of four very specific decks. I have a deck pairing that I use for my weekly reading throughout the season. So for example, in autumn time or during the fall, I use one deck pairing throughout the whole season to do my weekly readings. And I also have two decks for my daily pulls. And how I do my daily pulls is I have a deity theme deck and I have a nature-based deck, and I pull one card from each every day. And yeah, so let's dive into the four decks for fall. So for my weekly reading throughout the season of autumn, I use this deck pairing, the Isis Oracle and the Egyptian Art Nouveau Tarot. Now, I don't work with Isis, and to be quite honest, for every single reading in my personal practice, when it comes to my weekly or daily pulls, I address Hekate. So all of the decks that you see here in my seasonal collections, even though they depict different deities, different faces of the divine, I use them to communicate with Hekate, which is my main goddess, my main deity. Most of the decks are modified, especially the goddess themed ones. So the Isis Oracle for me is modified. And yeah, let me show you how I do my weekly reading. So what I do is I pull a oracle card for the theme of the week, and then I supplement that with two tarot cards on each side. So this is how I do my weekly reading. The backs of this specific deck pairing, I think that both of them look beautiful. You will notice that I have written keywords on the backs of the Isis Oracle. I did this because first, I don't work directly with Isis. And second, I really don't like Alana Fairchild. I have two of her decks, the Isis Oracle and the Kali Oracle, which we will speak about a bit later in this video. But I really don't like her approach to the divine. I don't like her writing style. And yeah, I think that she uses way too many words to say pretty much nothing, to be quite honest. So, but I really do enjoy the artwork by Jimmy Menton. I think that I'm mispronouncing his name, but you get it. I love the artwork. I really don't like Alana Fairchild. So what I did with the Isis Oracle is I went through the whole guidebook. I read the whole damn thing, and it was long, let me tell you. It was long and it was fluffy. And I chose keywords, one or two keywords that represented the key concept of the card. And this is what I wrote on the back of each card. So this is how I use this deck. And the Kali Oracle I modified completely. But anyway, so yeah, let me show you some cards. So I'll just do it like this. I really like the Egyptian aesthetic and all of the golden hues. I really feel like autumn time in terms of the colors, the vibes, and yeah, I really enjoyed this deck pairing, especially when I modified the Isis Oracle, because to be quite honest, prior to modifying this deck, I was thinking of rehoming it, and yeah, I just really don't vibe with Alana. I know that a lot of people in the community rave about her, but for me, I don't know, I just don't resonate with her writing style. Like I said, I think that she is way too overhyped, in my opinion. And to be quite honest, when I do a reading anyway, I prefer to use my own intuition. So a keyword or two work best than 3 pages worth of useless text that doesn't say anything in the case of Alana's writing. So, and the artwork is stunning. I really love Jimmy Menton's art style. I know that it's not for everybody, but I do enjoy it, and it works. And once again, I don't use this deck to connect to Isis, so I'm not really concerned with if she was accurately depicted in her mythos, because I connect to Hekate. And by the way, if you didn't know, there's a link between Isis and Hekate, and in the Greek magical papyri, they are mentioned as the same deity almost. It's very interesting. But I do enjoy how those two read together. And it's good to have variety, and it just works. I made it work, and I do that thing with my decks when I don't like something about the deck, but I like another aspect of it. I don't shy away from modifying it and making it fit my practice, because at the end of the day, those decks, both tarot and oracle, they are tools for my spiritual path. And what use do you have for a tool that doesn't work for you? Not, you don't have any use for it, so I make them work. Okay, for my daily pulls throughout throughout the season of autumn, for my nature-based deck, I use a compendium of witches, mass market, Los Carville, oracle deck. And for my deity deck, I use those two decks. I have combined them in one big deck. So goddesses and sirens, and gods and titans. And yeah, they look okay together. They work great together, which is the more important part of my daily pool. And like I mentioned in the previous installment of this specific seasonal portion of Perfect Pairs, I do my daily readings at the end of the day as I'm preparing myself to go to sleep. And I pull my cards for the next day, because in the morning I'm not very concentrated. And yeah, in the mornings I just want to drink my coffee and then go out with my dog. And I'm not very concerned with pulling cards. And at nighttime, my mind is clearer. I feel more connected to Hekate. And my interpretations are just better when I'm in the right headspace. So I do my daily pulls at night for the next day. And it works great. What do you prefer, to pull your daily cards in the morning or the previous night? Tell me in the comment section down below. I actually looking at those side by side like this right now. I really like it. By the way, I'm recording this early spring, so I haven't used those two decks together since autumn, so it's nice seeing them together once again. And I like the limited deck selection of working with only 4 decks for the entirety of the season. It keeps me focused, it keeps me organized. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but when I pull my daily cards for the deity deck, I always ask, what do I need to elevate or embrace for the next day? And for my nature-based deck, I always ask, what do I need to ground? And this is my daily practice. And for my daily practice, as I mentioned in the previous installment, I often refer to the guidebooks because I pull only 1 card. So, Persephone and Roots. How cool. Okay, I'll do one more and we can move to the winter portion of the video because I feel that I will ramble a bit more there. Okay, one more. Okay. So those were the decks that I use for my autumn deck selection. Isis Oracle, Egyptian Art Nouveau, Tarot for my weekly reading info, and for my daily practice, a compendium of witches and the goddesses and sirens in combination with the gods and titans. I mixed my decks up. Okay, by the way, if I'm not making sense, I haven't slept pretty much at all last night, so excuse me for that. Okay. I'm trying to keep things as organized as I humanly can. Okay, so moving to the winter deck selection. Okay, this one will be a lot. The Kali Oracle by Alana Fairchild is my oracle of choice for my weekly readings for winter. And its deck companion is a tarot deck that I created, the Diverse Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. It is basically a recoloration of Pixie's original line work. The deck is available on Make Playing Cards if you are interested in buying a copy and checking it out. I'll be more than grateful. By the way, I also have a full walkthrough of the Diverse Rider-Waite-Smith on the channel, so you can check the whole deck, all of the cards. Now, let's talk about the Kali Oracle by Alana Fairchild. Okay, so for the longest time, I was saying to myself, you are never going to purchase this deck. This deck is bullshit. You don't need it. I'm saying this because between 2021 2022 I was working very closely with Kali as an entity in her own right, and as I was developing my relationship with her, I came across the Kali Oracle online on YouTube, as one does, and I watched several reviews, etc., the whole shebang. And I also watched a lot of flip-throughs of the deck. And it became apparent very early on of me watching this content that the deck is wrong. that the information in the deck is not accurate. It is not an accurate representation of Kali, and it is not a respectful one. In that sense, I think that the Isis Oracle did a better job of representing Isis as a goddess than the Kali Oracle did for Kalima. Kalima is a very special goddess. She is very fierce, she is very loving, and she is untamable. Yeah, you cannot tame Kali. This guidebook, you can see, is a chunker. It has, let me tell you, how many pages do you have? 223 pages worth of bullshit. Sorry, not sorry. This is my honest opinion of Alana Fairchild and this deck in particular. I've read the majority of this book. And what I can say is that Alana 100% whitewashed Kali. She compares Kali to Mary Magdalene. And no, just no, don't do that. No. Second of all, there are a lot of mistakes and concepts around Kali included in this guidebook that are simply not true, or they don't exist at all. So this is my opinion. This is not a valid resource if you want to connect with Kali. If you want a supportive, whitewashed deck, light-washed as well, not only whitewashed, fluffy guidebook, fluffy deck, you can use it. It works fine as an oracle deck, but it is not connected to the energy of Kali, to her fierceness. It just isn't. That's my opinion. Now, I really like Jimmy Manton's artwork, like I already mentioned, for the Isis Oracle. I really like his art style, with the caveat that his depictions of Kali are also whitewashed. It's just, there's just not any going around that. The faces that he draws are very white presenting. They don't resemble Indian culture. There are maybe two cards that are more traditional in their depictions. This one, and let me find the other one. Okay, just a second. I think I had it was going to be useful if I prepared this beforehand, before hitting the record button, but okay. So those two cards are the only more traditional visual representations of Kali. The other 42 cards are very light washed in terms of facial depictions. They look like white people, and Kali comes from a tradition that just doesn't have those facial structure, if you will. So yeah, those are the negatives about the deck, the things that I don't like about the deck. The guidebook, I don't use it, quite honestly. I read quite a lot in order for me to determine and to establish my opinion, because after a while I just gave in and purchased the deck to see why everybody was raving so much about it, when from the flip throughs and from the reviews that were available online, as a Kali follower at the time, as somebody that was really reading on her mythos, her culture, it was very apparent to me, even through the screen, just watching those reviews, that the deck is shit and inaccurate. So after a period of time, maybe last year, yeah, it was definitely in the summer of last year, I had enough and I just purchased it in order to see what was so special that people in Tarot Tube community was raving about the deck, because I wanted to form a informed opinion, and I couldn't do that without actually owning the product. So yeah, my opinion didn't change, it only deepened. So yeah, so let me tell you how I use this deck after having it. So I use it for my weekly pulls in the winter time, because the color theme reminds me of winter. In the winter here in Bulgaria, we have a lot of snow. It's very cold, and I like to look at colorful things to cheer myself up. Jimmy Manton's artwork I like, even though the problems that I already mentioned with this particular deck, his art style is enjoyable to look at, for me personally. So what I did, I took the whole deck, I spread the cards on this big bed behind me, and I rearranged the deck. I deleted the titles from all of the cards, and then I wrote I wrote keywords that actually made sense, both with the image, but were also in keeping with Kali's energy and actual mythology. So this is what I did. I rearranged the cards, I renumbered them. You can see there on top how I renumbered all of the cards, and basically I curated my own version of the deck that is more in keeping with the knowledge that I have of Kali and the energy of her as I experienced it when I had a more closer when I had a more closer relationship with her, because like I said, I worked with Kali previously, so I know her energy signature, I know quite a bit about her. So yeah, I don't use the guidebook, I completely changed the whole deck and I made it work for me, just like I do for any other deck that doesn't. Can you spot a pattern here? Yeah, I like to modify things. So, okay, enough rambling. Let me show you some cards. And those two, visually, I think that they play together very well. Those are the backs. So yeah, and now I use this just as is, just the cards and the keywords and my own knowledge and understanding. So here we can see the depiction of Agni, the fire god in Hinduism, and the keyword and the title was something that didn't have anything to do with him. So I wrote transmutation, because fire transforms things. So yeah, I came up with my own keywords. So for the lotus there, I wrote beauty and pleasure. This depiction is one of my favorite depictions of goddess energy, because I like the duality between the light side of the divine feminine and the darker side. I really like this artwork, and I'm appreciating it for what it is, just from an artistic standpoint, because I'm an artist myself, and I know that Jimmy Manton has skills, even though the deck is not in keeping with the culture of Kali. The artwork is still very skillfully done. So for this, I wrote She Devours Darkness. For this, I wrote Turning Within. For this, I wrote Safety and Support. And to be quite honest, Kali is never mentioned to have an avatar or a form as a baby. So for this, I wrote the Heart and Agape, meaning universal love. For this, I wrote Challenge and Conflict. Next, we have Bloom and Fruition for this beautiful flower depiction. This deck originally incorporated the 10 Mahavidyas, but some of the depictions weren't correct in my opinion, so I switched some of the cards around. And yeah, I still kept the name of the Mahavidya, of the 10 Mahavidyas, because the 10 Mahavidyas are aspects, or it translates in the 10 Mahavidyas translates as 10 wisdom goddesses, and they are different faces of Kali, emanations of Kali, if you will, but at the same time, they are goddesses in their own right. So, Bhairavi, creation, with the Ace of Wands, how fitting. Chimanasta, forget. And for the Mahavidyas and the keywords associated with them, I used a book. What was it called? I have it. I really love it. I'll leave it in the description box down below. I really cannot think of the name. But yeah, for Dhumavati, I wrote Ignorance. Here we have Recovery and New Life, and I really like this set of keywords for the new moon depiction in the background. Here I wrote Sacred Sorcery. For this card, I wrote the High Priestess because the depiction really reminded me of the High Priestess in Tarun. For this card, I wrote Claim Your Power because down here we see the Kali Bija sound, which is cream, and it is used in mantra recitations and mantra it's a part of Kali mantras. And the Bija sound of each deity actually represents and embodies the energy of the deity itself. It is divine in its own right. For this, I wrote Divine Knowledge because I really like that we have the root chakra on the skull there. And for me, I don't separate the mundane from the spiritual. So for this card, I wrote Radical Letting Go because Kali takes away our illusions and ego. Sacred Marriage between Shiva and Shakti. Kali is a form of Shakti, or the feminine principle. Kamala, Contentment. Really? Yeah. Sweetness and Grace with the Ace of Pentacles. Kali as Time and the Star card. Initiation and Growth. Sundari, Awareness. Beneath the Appearance, because I really like the duality in the image. Matangi with Language. Shake Up Tradition. Fierce Divine Justice. I think I'm going to go through all of the cards just because I had such a strong opinions of the deck. So Nourish Yourself. Surrender Control. Bhagavamukhi with Purity. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the names. English is not my first language. Strength and Freedom. Ferocity and Wrath with the Three of Swords. Sacred Medicine with the Mantra Medicines or Sound Healing. Ego Deconstruction. Tara Potential, the Blue Tara. Trust Your Intuition with the third eye there and the Death card. Conquer Fear with the Tower, okay. And Bloodlust with the Five of Swords. Okay, those were all of the cards from the Kali Oracle. So yeah, I really spoke my opinion there. Yeah, don't come for me. Everybody is entitled to have their opinions. And this is mine. If you like the deck, I have nothing against you. I just don't. Okay, so those were the two decks that I use for my weekly practice in the season of winter. And for my daily pulls, for my deity theme card pull, I use the Dark Goddesses Oracle. I love the artwork in this. And for my nature-based deck, I use the Spirit Song Tarot. Both of the decks are great. Both of the decks remind me of winter. They are more soft, and yeah, especially the Dark Goddesses Oracle. It has a lot of negative white space, which reminds me of the visuals when I look outside my window with all of the snow that we get. And the Spirit Song Tarot is deeply supportive and very gentle. And I really appreciate that sort of energy, especially in winter. I tend to get seasonal depression, and it's helpful to feel supported by my decks. And they balance each other well. This being more direct, this being more gentle. And once again, I pull one card from each, just like that. From the Dark Goddesses Oracle, I ask Hekate to show me something to elevate or embrace. And for the Spirit Song Tarot pull, I ask her to show me something that I need to ground in the upcoming day, because once again I do my daily practice in the evening. Both of them are visually stunning, both of them are very charming, and I really love it as a pairing. Two of Shells with Beauty. Very cool. Very cool stuff, guys. I just have such a deep and profound love for tarot and oracle and for art. I don't know, looking at all of those beautiful decks, it just fills my heart with such joy, such pleasure that I just can't convey through my words. And throughout the years, I don't know, tarot, this practice, communing with Hekate daily, using cards, looking at those beautiful artworks, I found it to be really beneficial and deeply profound on every level, to be quite honest. There were times in my life, in my spiritual practice, that my relationships to the spiritual beings is the only thing that kept me sane and, to be quite frank, alive. And I will forever be grateful to the practice, to the tools, to my connection. And yeah. So tell me in the comment section down below, have you ever had such a or profound experience with your deities and your tarot oracle practice? How did it change your life? And what was your overall experience? Not was, but what is your overall experience engaging with tarot and cards in general? And yeah, I use my tools both for predictive readings, for contemplation, for conversation with different deities and spirits. It's so multiple purposed. Okay, guys, that's everything for this segment of perfect pairs. I think I have only 2 more episodes to record, the decks that I use for my personal decks, because like I mentioned in one of the previous episodes, just like I have tools to connect with other spiritual beings, I consider myself to be a spiritual being as well, so I have a set of tools to connect with myself. And I'm sure that you can relate to that. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your support and for watching. I am eager to see what you think. Did you enjoy the deck pairings that I showed you? Do you have any of those decks in your collection? How do you use them? What do you pair them with? So please tell me in the comment section down below. Before we part ways, I just want to ask you to like the video if you enjoyed it, to subscribe to the channel so that our community can grow. And if you wish to support me further, I offer personal tarot readings. I have a membership space open, and I also create decks and sell them on Make Playing Cards. All of those things are going to be linked in the description box down below. So I'll be really grateful if you could check them out. Thank you once again. My name is Elisa, and this is the Art Occultist. I'll see you next week. Take care.